Hey guys, random vlog time. I decided to do this random vlog. I'm gonna try to vlog more. Now that I have more free time, I'm not really actively traveling, which I'm so freaking relieved. Like, I feel so free. Like, people thought like I was free when I was like traveling and stuff. No, I felt handicapped. Like, I felt like, I had to be like forced to be taken these places because I'm really a hermit. Like, I don't like to go out much at all. I like to save money. I like to just keep to myself, mind my own dang business, okay? So I feel more free now these last 6 months of the year than I did the first 6 months of the year. Trust and believe. So relieved. The only thing I am working on though is like building my community here realistically, because none of us are perfect, right? Like, I don't really have like an active social life, and so I'm trying to work on that. But today I more wanted to talk about, see, my thoughts are already cluttered all over the place because I want to talk about ADHD, and I think I might have it because I did notice this like in relationships and my partners in the past, people I'm dating, even people I'm friends with. They would sometimes get like, okay, let's be honest, all the time, even my family. Oh, excuse me, I'm having some sweet iced tea. Just burped. That I have a hard time paying attention. I can't, like, people always think that I don't care about them because I forget what they just told me 5 minutes ago. It's not that I don't care, it's just I forget. I'm very forgetful. And I kind of always knew like I'm special, weird. That's why I thought I was like maybe slightly autistic or something. I don't know. I have no idea. I never got, quizzed on that or read on that, a chart on that, a diagnosis, okay? But I always wonder, like, why are people always telling me that I don't remember anything? And it started to frustrate me because I'm like, okay, like I thought this went away, and no, it's not. So yeah, it's most commonly a thing with like a younger generation, like 3, 4, 5, whatever. They start to tell, but I never used to really be like this. I used to, remember what someone told me, or like I'd be able to focus and I'd have like a great memory. And just within the last 3 years, I don't know if it's stress or whatever, or age or whatever, but like it's like I do care, but I don't even care to focus or pay attention. Like, it could be a loved one, it could be anyone. Like, it's not personal to that person. Like, I literally will forget what you just told, like, and I'm going back to like the whole travel thing, because like, yeah, I did have a partner recently where it was like we were going here and there, and I'd always forget like where they'd tell me, and I thought they were like gaslighting me at first or whatever. But then I realized, no, it was probably me just forgetting, because probably, I don't know, ADHD, attention deficit. No, I'm not going to look into it. I'm not going to take anything for it. I think it just makes me who I am. I'm okay with it, Yeah, it can affect relationships or whatever, but I don't really care to build those right now. I have people around me who know how I am, and they understand, they get it, they don't take it personally, so I need to find that in a friend, is like someone that can understand that it's not because I am even in my own head, like thinking about my own stuff. No, it's just I literally forget. Like, even reading long messages, I can't. Like, when I see a comment that's too long, I don't even read it, because I can't. I don't have the patience. Email. I don't have the patience to just sit there and read through the whole thing, because my eyes are going to divert and stuff like that. So even with like YouTube videos, I'm like, if it's not short, quick, and easy, I can't. I just can't. Like, I watch long videos, but do you ever get this, is what I'm trying to say. Like, leave a comment. Do you ever have desensitizing experiences? It's so much more than that. Like, apparently it's like giving random gifts to people. I do that for sure. I'm also very bored. I bore easily. So like on my adventures this year, I was like chronically bored. I didn't have as good of a time, which is why I feel more free now, because I'm free to choose what I can do with my life. You know, I don't have to, you know, go drive somewhere every day and, you know, cook and clean for that person, you know. And, you know, I got so bored after a while. So, you know, I don't know. I think like I don't think I can ever be bound to a person, because my attention is always diverted elsewhere, you know. And I'm not even thinking about the person. I'm like, you know, I come home and I'm like, oh, you know, I'm thinking about my life and other things and paying bills. And then, oh, let me go do this thing on my own. And, you know, I felt so trapped. I think a relationship binds me, you know, it doesn't free me. For a lot of people, it's a good thing. A relationship benefits them in their life if it's a healthy person. And they're themselves healthy. You know, I don't believe any relationship is perfect. Both parties need to have great mental health and to live a healthy lifestyle within the relationship, meaning like healthy boundaries and stuff like that. But it's just too much for me, even like boundaries and stuff. Like I just can't do that. And it's not that I refuse help. It's like it doesn't bother me. So if it doesn't bother me, I don't want to change. If I don't want to change, why bother? You know? So a lot of people say that ADHD is like it makes you special. You're tapped in more universally to spirit. You know, I do believe that as well. And I'm not saying I just have this one thing. I probably have several things, right? But, you know, I'm at peace with it as long as I'm at peace with it. And those loved ones around me know me for who I am and understand me. Then it's fine. It never caused me issues in school. Because I feel also like totally different. Does that make sense? Like I know I'm a walking soul. Like no doubt I'm so different. I feel different. It feels like I'm living another person's life, so to speak. So I'm not the same I was before, like 5 years ago. And I know that because I've never been this way, to have these things. And, you know, a lot of times it can be triggered by like whatever, like stress or whatever. So I'm not saying that's 100%, but it's just what I feel, and I connect with what I feel, and it just makes sense to me. And not everyone can connect with that and get it, and that's why they're so misunderstood. And I'm looking into ADHD and I'm researching. I'm like, oh my God, like everything on the list makes sense. Like difficulty in relationships, it can be stressful because the person's not there, you know, like it's just like I could never even like sit in the couch, like, oh my God, like literally every like past partner always wanted to sit in the couch, watch TV. I don't even freaking watch TV. I don't like TV. To me, it's like, just, I don't like it. It's mind wash. Programming, right? Like, no thank you. So they'd always be like, where are you going? Or I'm like always going to the bathroom, or like I just have to get up and move. And I just can't sit still, you know? Like even right now I'm getting so restless. I just want to end this video. So it's so funny. It's just like a little part of me. I guess you get to know, a little journaling for myself so I could look back and reflect like, oh, wow, okay, I felt that way at that time. And so, you know, at least I had someone to talk to. I had people to talk to about it. And yeah, like, even another one. Like one day when I was in Mexico, I was like so restless and so bored. I just like cried. And I'm like, I felt so stuck, so trapped, and I just wanted to get out. And I already did get out because I was on vacation, right? Where am I going to go? But I just wanted to go back home. I so wanted to go back home. Like I felt out of my comfort zone, out of like routine and stuff like that. I started to feel physically ill as well. And then I noticed this during the hurricane when I was at my parents' house, and I was out of my order, and like after day 3, I like broke down. I was having a panic attack. I'm like, I just want to get out of here. I just want to work. And I had that same thing happen once when I had an emergency. I had to get out of my house like 2 years ago now, over 2 years ago. And I was at my friend's place. I had to stay there for some time, and I just like almost broke down in front of them. And they never understand why I'm like this. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't, like I have to work. And I was like, almost a whole week without like working, my normal routine, and I just start to lose it. I'm like, oh my God, I need to go. I felt trapped, and had nothing to do with the person, with nothing at all. It just, I realized with time, it's because I always have to actively be doing something, and I always, as a kid, was so chronically bored. Like, I remember several times when I was literally crying in outbursts to my aunt, to my mother, that I could not be doing something. I had to hang out with a friend always. Oh my God, like every day I'd go like with my bike and hang out with my friends. Even if they weren't home, I'd try knocking on the door anyway. Like, I just needed something to do. I just needed to get out of the house, right? And so now looking back, I get it. I don't really judge people for, like, some people are like chronic travelers. Like, they have like like they always have to travel. Like, it's just kind of a form of escapism. Especially if, yeah, I won't go into it, but yeah. So I don't blame them almost. It's like, wow, I get it. My form is different. It doesn't come in the form. I don't need to go drive out somewhere. I don't need to go get a plane somewhere. I don't need to escape my problems that way, you know? It's more through work. And that's a blessing in disguise, because I've created my life the way I did because I channeled all the energy into work. I used to channel it more destructively, maybe through different partners or, and what I've built is because of that. I just about channeling that boredom energy, and I couldn't do that as a kid. A kid working, are you kidding me? That's like, no, that doesn't exist. So unless you're like a child actor, but I didn't know how. I didn't know any outlet, and I think that's why I always train myself to be at home, is because I always find something to do at home. There's always something to do, whether it's cleaning, whether it's cooking, whether it's reading, meditating, taking a hot bath, a shower, taking a walk. Like, because I was around it, I kind of managed to take care of that attention deficit by putting my attention toward here and link with spirituality. And that, I think, will help you if you're ever experiencing that as well. And I just don't even remember. There was like 9 different symptoms or whatever of it. I'm like, every single one checks. You can even look it up yourself, like symptoms of every... Nothing has resonated more. And I like that label too, if I were to be one day labeled, because it's not judgy. It's not like, oh, you have BPD or you have like sociopathy or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't feel like an offense. It doesn't feel like targeting you or triggering you. It's like everyone has ADHD. You know what I'm saying? So it feels very good. Yes, Poopsie. It feels very good to know that, hey, that could be just what all it is that's leading to every other issue I've ever had. And why what happened, right? So it makes sense. But I wonder why it started more like later in life. And then it's so weird. So weird. They say it's rare, but like it can go on to when you're like 28, 30. I'm like, what? Anyway, so I don't mind it, again, because I channel that, even like that creative energy, into what I do. And it allows me to keep working without complaining all the time. Because most people complain like, oh my God, I'm overworked, I'm tired of it. I enjoy it because at least I have something to do. And that's what keeps me going. Rather than like just sitting there some days with my own thoughts, which I still do every day, I have my battles. Sometimes there's several days where you're just battling with your own mind. And, I never took anything for it, ever. I never got like, the only really help I consider, guys, like hypnotherapy. And I went to school for that. I didn't really get, proper therapy. So it was always my own. I talked to like counselor or whatever, or like a form of a therapist, a psychologist who was a friend, like not really ever checking into somewhere and getting help. Never, ever done that, and never taken anything. So I don't know, like how I went this long riding life raw, as they say, without any really resources but my own research and videos online, like how to deal with this type of person, how to deal with this. One thing that kind of is scary, though, is the subject of like sociopathy, because I connect with that too a lot. Like, I don't really feel guilt. It's so weird. And there's someone I like listening to. Her name is Kanika Batra, if you've ever heard of her. And she posts stories and videos. And I totally vibe with her. Like, everything she says, I also feel. It's so weird. But I still choose to be a good person because I know that there's no other way. You have to be a good person. You can't be just a complete butthole. You're not going to get anywhere in life by doing that, by being bad, and you can still have compassion and empathy because you choose to, for people. So, but, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Like, so that's why I say it could be several things. I'm not like trying to self-diagnose or anything. I just wanted to literally talk and make this video because a lot makes sense. And I'm like, oh, that's why, I was able to do that and others couldn't. You see what I'm saying? So it gets into eerie territory sometimes when you really dive through the deep inner dive work of who you are as a person. And then it makes sense. It's like, oh, I did use a manipulation tactic to get me through that, to get what I wanted. Oh, that's why I totally blocked that person and never spoke to them again for no apparent reason. Oh, that makes sense now. And then you connect the pieces and it's like, well, I'm a good person, but I'm also, I have my bad moments too. But at least I chose over the last several years to work through them. Some people just escape, get away from it. They want to vacation it away, and it doesn't work. It's going to catch up to you eventually, And that was also a hard lesson I had to learn. And I had to face a lot of things because, I lost a lot of people because I didn't want to at the time. And it's all part of growing up, maturity, realizing, connecting why what happened to you as a kid affects you now. And there's nothing I could have done to control that. It's a choice I made, as soul, to come here and perform, to play my part in the play of life, right? Like Shakespeare. So on stage, we're all actors in a stage, you guys. I'm just playing my part. And sometimes you have to play the villain. Sometimes you have to play the angel. It's just sometimes both. So losing train of thought in conversation's another one. I could never pay attention more than 5 minutes, even in class, like in the later years when I took like extracurricular, like schooling just for fun or whatever. I did mention not sitting still. What else? There's a lot. I could focus on tasks, but because as long as it's linked to work/paycheck, like I know I have no choice but to pay my roof, so, and eat, like, and live and survive. So I have to focus. So like that part's easy for me. But when it's something I don't have to do, I'm like, I'll open a business email, honestly, and I'm like, ooh, cookies. I'll be back. And I'll come back and be like, wait, what was I doing? Why is this stupid phone here? I didn't mean to put it. Oh, I had to take the dog pee. Okay. And then, so like, that's how even like my family probably sees me. Like they come over and sometimes, or I go over their house and I'm just like, wait, can you say that again? Or, yeah, like, and it was so hard to mask that and hide that from like, friends and partners and stuff. But eventually the mask slips, and you're like, oh, wow, they're really starting to see who you really are. And it's scary because then it's like, oh, I didn't portray myself this way. And that's something I had to face. It's like I have to always authentically be my true self because I'm afraid of judgment, I'm afraid to get hurt, just because I may or may not be a certain label that I just mentioned. Doesn't mean that I don't have my insecurities as well, right? So it made me realize a lot, and life is a choice. I definitely vibe with that. Life is a result of the choices you make. 1 billion, trillion, billion%. There's some things you cannot control. I understand that, and there's a higher reason for that. But the only thing, hands down, that has helped me through any sort of struggle, anything with mental health, is my connection to God. That's the only thing that's ever worked for me. Better than any counselor, better than anything I've read or looked up or tried to formulate of my own opinion. And I can't explain it to this day. I still don't know. I still question it why. And I'm not saying you should. And I'm not saying you should agree with me. But it's the only thing that overall makes sense, is the bigger picture scheme of things. Overthinking, I think, is another thing, because now I'm overthinking what I just said. And I'm diving deep into like, what? Like, whoa, man, you know? But whatever. So thanks for vibing with me, and thanks for letting me talk it out. And, oh yeah, obsession too. Like when something does grab my attention and I get like obsessed about it for like a whole day, or I can't stop thinking about it for several days, even like a new person I meet, you know, that can be an issue. And then I get bored and I get over it and I move on to the next thing. So I've always had that thing also as a child. Like, let me show you. This is part of my boredom. There's only one here, but okay, here's a plush toy, right? I used to have like hundreds of plush toys as a kid. And I'd play with one for a while, you know, they'd sleep with me in the bed and whatever. And I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so bored. Move on to the next plush toy, right? How many friggin' plush toys can you have that correlates to people I choose in my life? Oh, I like you. Okay, I'm bored of you. Next. Pretend this is now a new plush toy, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, how many plush toys can you have? When is it ever enough? How many new partners will you have? How many people will come and go in your life because you're bored? See, so that's where it gets to, like, unresolved issues can be a problem, especially if it bothers you. Now, does it bother me? I don't know, because sometimes I really don't care. But see, that's linked with other parts of myself that still need resolution. But as long as you're at peace with yourself, who cares, right? See how complex the human mind is? So that's just one layer of many that I just talked about, but it goes back to childhood and how spoiled I was and having choices, having options, and that's how I perceive life is I have the power, I have the choice, I have the control, I have the decision, you know, to change it the way I want, and I've built it exactly, pinpoint the way I wanted and envisioned because of that, because I believed it would always come to me. I'd always have that plush toy, the new thing I wanted. So you see how your early conditioning relates to the reality you live today. But it's a lonely reality, especially when you don't have a plush toy to stay too long. And thankfully I have a couple good people in my life who have and understand that inner spoiled child. And it's no fault of anyone's own. I'm not blaming anyone for that. What I'm trying to say is, at least the awareness helps. And that's where the healing begins, right? So at least you got to know me better. It was a bit personal, but who cares? I don't really care, to be honest. Like, people are like, oh, Tony, why do you share personal stuff? I don't really care. Like, I really don't. It's fine. If this can help someone today, great. And at least make you realize you're not alone if this is something similar that you've experienced and want to relate to. And maybe you get some enlightenment on your own life, like I said, and peeling back your own layers of the complexity of your own mind, perhaps. Take care.